Now, we are going to the state of Texas to talk with FC Dallas Fort and Canadian-born Tesho Akindele. Tesho, welcome to Red Card, my friend.
Hey, how you guys doing?
I couldn't be better. Tesho, thanks so much for taking time out of your busy life to join us here on Red Card, my friend. First and foremost, let's talk about that game on the weekend against the Vancouver Whitecaps. Physical matchup. I got to see most of the game. It was a game that had difference of plays throughout it and a lot of offense. Talk about it in your mind, how you saw that game play out.
I thought it was a good game from both teams. You know, the momentum was just shifting back and forth, and at halftime we had a 2-1 lead. We thought we'd be able to hold on to that. You know, they got a PK call and they finished it off well. So I thought it was a good game from both teams.
Tesho, let's talk about it. Unfortunately, it's not one of the best surfaces to play a game at. We've heard a lot of complaints from a lot of different players and teams before, but that Vancouver team is for real. They've got a lot of great young talent, as we saw with Maddox, and I could go on and on, Russell T-Bird. How did you guys prepare for this squad before you ended up there in Vancouver? Did you concentrate on their speed? Did you concentrate on their counterattack? What did you guys discuss?
I think we're just trying to concentrate on ourselves, just keeping our defensive shape and just being prepared to score our chances when they came offensively. We were more focused on what we can do than what they were going to bring to the game.
How nice is it, Tesho, to play alongside a superstar in Blas Perez? That's got to be outstanding for you to be up with him in your first year here.
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, he's been nothing but helpful to me. He's always willing to give me advice, and he's there to give me the extra confidence boost if I'm ever feeling low, and he's just been a great help to me the whole season.
To me, another guy I think that is so key to your play and the rest of the team's play is a guy that doesn't get a lot of press, that doesn't get a lot of feedback and all sorts of good stuff, and that's Adam Moffat. Adam Moffat, to me, has been a guy that has been so solid for your team this season. Talk about Adam and what he brings to the table.
Yeah, I mean, he's just kind of the glue that keeps our team together. You know, he sits in defensive midfield, so when the defense gets a shutout, he doesn't get recognized for the shutout, and he's usually like the second assist more than the first assist, so he's not getting counted for the goals, but what he's doing is very important for our team. He's breaking up a lot of the plays, and he just connects the pass and rarely loses the ball, so he's a great guy for us.
Tesho, let's talk about your keeper, who I think has been one of the best, if not tops, in MLS this season, Fernandez. This guy has made save after save that can go in the highlight reel for years to come.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of just proved it again this weekend why he's such a great keeper. He made, 2 or 3 saves that I thought were for sure going to be a goal, and he just pulled it out of the hat, and I think he's even up for Save of the Week this week. I mean, he's just had a great season. It's been good. And
no surprise here, the guy's been lights out recently. Talk about, obviously, two guys that really are good at what they do back there. Zach Lloyd, who has joined us on our show before, and Walker Zimmerman joined us last year. How great is it to know that you can go up there to do your job with Blas Perez and put the ball in the back of the net and think offensively, and you know back in the defense that it's all good back there. It's like a brick wall with those guys there.
Yeah, it's huge. We don't have to track back as much because we know that they're going to be able to take care of their guy one-on-one most of the time, and it's just good to have that confidence in your teammates. And they're both versatile players that, they can handle speed and they can play. They're pretty strong too, so they're great defenders.
Let's talk about you now, Tesho. Obviously, this is your first season playing as a pro. Do you wake up some mornings and give yourself a pinch and say, wow, this is really happening to me. I'm playing pro. I'm staying in some of the best hotels, traveling by air, going all over North America and playing with some of the best players in the world in MLS. Is it got to be to you sometimes surreal that this is happening?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a little bit surreal. Growing up, this is what I've always wanted to do, is just be a soccer player. And now that I have the chance to do it, every morning I wake up and I'm like, wow, this is actually happening. My lifelong dream, I'm getting to play. Nothing could be better for me. And
let's talk about it. Obviously, you were born in Canada, in Calgary, Alberta. And there is a lot of good players that have come out of Calgary, Alberta in the past. And then obviously you make your way down to the United States. You play in the NCAA there. Talk about, first and foremost, growing up in Canada, and then we'll touch a little bit about your NCAA career.
Yeah, I mean, I was just born in Canada like I guess every other Canadian was. And I still have a lot of family there, and I go back to visit all the time because I moved out of Canada when I was younger, but I go back pretty much every summer to visit my grandparents out in BC. I still have family in Calgary and in Edmonton, so definitely still have connections in Canada.
And you grew up obviously in Thornton, Colorado, and that's where really you honed your game, you developed yourself. And talk about that, playing in high school down there and then making your way up to the college that you played at.
I think Colorado is almost an underestimated state right now for the soccer talent they bring. There was a lot of good players in my age group and just across the state in Colorado. So week in, week out, I was playing against good players, and that definitely helped me to get to where I am today.
Well, let me tell you this, Tesho. I know one guy who's doing outstanding work down there in Colorado. His name is Lauren Donaldson. I don't know if you've ever heard of him or not, but the guy played pro. He's coached. He used to play way back in the A-League with the Colorado Foxes. And you are bang on, Tesho. Colorado in that area has been doing some outstanding stuff in developing players.
Yeah, I know Lauren pretty well, actually.
There you go. I didn't even know that. There you go. Who doesn't know Lauren? The guy's been outstanding in that state.
Yeah, he's like one of the main soccer guys for sure. He's the head of one of the biggest clubs, maybe the biggest club in Colorado. So, and they've got teams in all different age groups and semi-pro doing successful. So he's a huge guy in the state of Colorado.
Well, let's talk about him a bit, Tesho. What did you learn from Lauren? What did you take away from the training sessions or the games that you were in that you have brought with you now as a pro?
I mean, he just kind of preaches the joy of the game. You know, he's a guy that's always having a good time. There's always a smile on his face, and he's really about just playing. So at practices, we do a lot of scrimmaging with him, and he just preaches everybody should enjoy the game. That's why we're playing, is to be happy, and he really believes in that.
And that's great to hear, Tesho, because a parent myself of two boys, one still in the system, I find too many times that practices, trainings are robotic. It's the same stuff over and over again, but obviously this is still fresh in your mind that it was enjoyable to go to training, that it wasn't always such regimented trainings. It was open and enjoyable. Is that what you took away from it?
Yeah, it definitely. That's why we all play the game, is to actually play the game. So it's good to go out to training and scrimmage, and that's one of the best ways to get fit, is just by playing, and it's the best way to hone on your skills. It was great.
Tesho, the $1 million question is coming up. I have been a long-suffering Canadian soccer fan, born and raised in this country, and as I've said to many, many people, Tesho, my background is of Italian heritage, but I've seen Italy win World Cups. I want to see Canada get back to the World Cup. You were born Canadian. You played, if I'm not mistaken, for the under-17 national team. And right now this country is striving to get back to respectability, like the USA is, like Mexico and Costa Rica. If Benito Floro picks up the phone tomorrow and says, Tesho, we want you to come and play against Jamaica coming up here, BMO in Toronto, what will your answer be?
I mean, it's definitely something I'm interested in. But right now we're in the midst of a long MLS season, so if everything works out with my club, I think that'd be a good opportunity for me.
Well, that's outstanding. So the answer obviously would be yes, and I think a lot of Canadian fans, you just made them real happy tonight and put a smile on their face. Obviously, Tesho, the game in North America is much different than it is in Europe and in South America. But how great was it to see the US of A, Tesho, in this last World Cup get out of the group stage and get into the knockout stages and almost pull off another miracle against Belgium? Was that not outstanding, seeing some guys that maybe you've trained with or you've watched on TV week in and week out play the way they did in that World Cup?
Oh, yeah, it was fantastic. I mean, you just saw it in the U.S., the whole country was behind them. There's huge watch parties. The numbers for viewership for all the games were higher than ever before, and I think it was just kind of showing that soccer's moving in the right direction, this company, and those guys did a great job out there.
You know, Tesho, going back to that under-17 experience you had with Canada, who are some of the guys that maybe you're still in contact with? Or have there been guys that have gone on to success in Europe that we know about? Is there guys in MLS? Or is there only a couple guys still that are in the game?
I mean, I was only with them for a short time, so I'm not in contact really with any of those guys. But I know that Russell Tybert was definitely one of the guys that was out there with me. So we just played against Vancouver, and he's there.
And Russell absolutely has had a good season with Vancouver, and there's a guy that is rising up the charts for Canada as well. Tesho, listen, just before we let you go, obviously the season is right now in about the middle point, the All-Star game coming up in MLS. Well, what are some of the highlights early on come the mid-season point for you that you've enjoyed with FC Dallas?
Oh, I mean, for our team, I guess we're just in a pretty good streak right now. We've been scoring some good goals, and yeah, I don't know. I think it's just been a great season overall. As my first professional season, I could just say it's been fantastic.
How great is it? I don't know if you made your way out yet, Tesho. Obviously, you did to Vancouver, but to that Pacific Northwest when you play Seattle Sounders, the Timbers, and Vancouver, the crowd atmosphere before the game, after the game, and inside that stadium, it's like a European atmosphere. Have you experienced that yet?
Yeah, I've been out to Portland and to Seattle, and the atmosphere was just fantastic over there. I think that's just what the game's all about, is getting the whole city behind the teams, and those guys are up there definitely doing a really good job at that.
Outstanding. Tesho, just before we let you go, obviously here on Red Card, we like to really give out some good tips out there to the youngsters that want to hear from professional players like yourself. What would you want to say, Tesho, to those youngsters out there that maybe are losing a little bit of confidence because they're on the bench and their coach doesn't believe in them, and they still have that dream like you had to play professional? What would you say to them to get to where you're at today? What do they need to do to get over that hump?
I'd say two things. Just one is practice. Like, you just got to practice on your own. You can never practice enough. Everybody who's a professional has spent countless hours by themselves with the ball practicing. That's one important thing. And also confidence. You know, it doesn't matter how good you are if you don't believe in yourself. So confidence is huge. Definitely confidence has helped me get to where I am.
Outstanding. And we'll close it out with this. Who has been so instrumental, important in your life, Tesho, to help get where you're at, that today, as a professional player with FC Dallas, you want to thank? Is it a former youth coach? Is it a parent? Is it a friend? Who is it that you want to thank that stuck by your side day in and day out?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank my dad. He coached me a lot when I was a youth player, and he's always had my back, and he always just has my best interest in mind. I definitely couldn't be where I am without him having my back throughout my whole career, my whole life.
And that puts a smile on me as a parent to hear that, because it's all worth it, Tesho. All those long rides to tournaments, all those days that maybe you had to take away from work early, all those times you had to sacrifice family functions to see Tesho Akindele play professional soccer, and just that comment saying that your dad is so important to you and helping you get where you're at, I bet you he says it's all worth it.
Yeah, definitely.
Tesho, listen, thanks so much for joining us here on Red Card. Good luck the rest of the way. And as a Canadian soccer fan, I'll say it once and I'll say it for the last time. We would love to see you in that Canadian red jersey. So if Benito calls, please say yes, because we need all the help we can get. And again, Tesho, good luck with you in FC Dallas